Hello everybody, this is Bad Boy Halo with the Saints of Games, and welcome to my first ever update, Minecraft update video. In this one, we're going to be talking about the 1.9 update pre-release, or update 15AW, whatever you want to call it, which has a ton of new stuff in it. This is going to be the precursor for the combat update, but I think it might even be better be called the end update, because there's so much new stuff that's updated in with this, and it's just absolutely insane. So I'll go through, tell you everything that's new about it, and tell you, just my thoughts on it as we go through with it, because, this is going to have a huge effect on Minecraft, a huge effect on servers, and there's tons of things that servers are going to be doing to take advantage of this, and, things that will affect servers. So anyway, without further ado, let's go right into it. Alright, so the first thing we need to point out, one of the most obvious changes is if you go Escape, Options, Skin Customization, you can now change your hand from right to left. And I know it is really, really creepy. I mean, look at that. Just absolutely gross. Just disgusting. I don't know why, but apparently some people actually want to be a filthy left-hander, but, to each their own. But yeah, you can make your skin a left-handed character, which is, pretty interesting. You can also hold stuff in each hand. They added dual wielding into Minecraft. So if I, am holding a sword in my, my dominant hand, and I'm going to switch it, back to my right hand so I don't, get sick during this video. Okay, there you go. Ah, so normal. I feel normal again. But yeah, people can see what hand. So if I left it as my left hand, other people would see that. But you can also add dual wielding. So you've got this little space up here, which you can just, drop something in. And then you have dual wielding in your inventory. Now you can't, use it. You can't swing with both swords at the same time. But I can now run around and I can have two swords. I can look like a barbarian warrior or something like that. And it looks kind of funny when I walk. But it's a pretty neat little addition. Let's say it's a different item. Let's hold like a bow, right? If I want to, I can hold a bow and I can actually fire it while I have a sword there. So this is great because you can switch between these two items simply by hitting the F key. So if I switch like that, I can be in combat, fighting someone with my sword and then quickly switch to my bow if I need to get some long range shooting in or need to take him out. So this is actually really cool, I think, because it adds in an extra element where you can keep something there and easily switch between them. And if you don't have anything there to begin with, like if I take the bow out, if you want to put something there, you can do it simply by pressing F, which is a great addition. You can quickly just stick something there. So awesome. I actually really like the dual-handed thing. I think this is a good addition. Good addition for a combat update. Really excited to see where this goes. And also, something that should be noted is if you get a map and you hold this, so let's go ahead and load this map and look at that. If you have something in your secondary slot, it will hold it in one hand and you can switch it. So now you can actually walk around, whereas you couldn't do this before. Now you can walk around, use a map, look on it, see where you're going, and hit people with your sword, whereas before, if didn't have, you'd have to walk around like this, and maps weren't really user friendly, but now they are, and that is another really cool update that I like. That is cool. That is definitely a bonus. Really like that. Alright, moving on, Mojang has also added some new blocks to Minecraft, and these blocks, one of the more interesting ones anyway, is called the Grass Path block, which you can't get it in creative mode. There's no way to get it, but you can if you make it simply by taking a shovel and right-clicking dirt, and it'll make this path, and they naturally spawn in villages, but you can make it, like this. If you're in creative mode, you can right-click it, or shift click off of, or control click off of them, or middle click like that, and you can get a stack of them that way. So you can get them if you are in creative mode, but they're not in the menu currently. And yeah, you can just make these simply by doing that. And it starts off, it's really dark, and then the center gets lighter as you make it bigger up to a certain point. Then it stops mattering, and you can, I see a lot of people using this as decoration, so this will be pretty cool to see how people use this, to decorate things. It's kind of it looks like a worn grass path, a path that you've walked on a lot. So I think that's a neat little addition. Alright, now we have some other blocks, which we have, these are the purple blocks. So like we have the per block, which these generate in the end, which I'll show you later. And you can get these also by getting the popped chorus fruit, which you can get those from these weird looking plants, which you can also find in the end now. If you break these, they will break like that, and it'll give you a bunch of chorus fruits, which you can then take to a furnace, stick them in with some sort of fuel, right? And they will give you a popped chorus fruit, where if you take this popped chorus fruit and you put it in that pattern, you will get a per block. And then if you take per blocks, you can make, you know, stairs with them, you can make slabs with them, you can take the per slab block, and you can make these ones, which are the per pillars. So I assume they're called per. I mean, until someone from Mojang calls them something else, I'm going with per, whatever. It's like a take on purple, you know, because they're purple. Genius naming scheme, which is, you know, very cool. You can use these. I see, you know, I guess I would have preferred a blue block, because I don't think, you know, Minecraft has a lot of, like, really nice blue blocks. Like, I'd love some, you know, lapis bricks and whatnot, but I guess this is cool. This is a nice little style. They also added the endstone bricks, which you can take just by taking endstone and, you know, making the same type of pattern, get an endstone brick, and I love this. This is actually one of my favorite blocks that they've added, because I am going to use this for a lot of builds. I always thought the endstone block had a cool color, but it's ugly as dirt, so I've never really liked the endstone block, but the endstone brick, kudos, Mojang. This I'm going to use a lot. Now, if we continue on, we also see they added a new light source to Minecraft, which is awesome. I love new light source blocks, because it gives builders, people who like to build, more tools to make their maps, you know, give them different ways of lighting. And this one in particular makes me think of Halo, right? If you've ever played Halo, it reminds me of some lighting sources. So I can see using this for like sci-fi maps. You know, I'm sure this is going to have a lot of uses, you know, decoration-wise and whatnot. But this is really cool. And this is one of the few blocks that you can actually do this with. Is you can, it has, you know, a position, but you can place it, you know, right side up, like so. You can place it, you know, horizontally like that, and you can place it upside down. But that is not all. You can also stand on it. So, like so. It is a, what? Anyway, you can stand on it like so. So it is also not only a lighting source like the torch, but it's one that you can use to block, you know, or use like quickly to like place things so you can stand on it. So you can stand on this, which is awesome. That's cool. So lighting source, similar to the torch, has the same lighting thing, but you can stand on it. Another block they've added is the Enderdragon Head block, which looks super crazy, and if you activate it with redstone, its mouth will open and close. It also does this if you pick it up and put it on your head and walk with it. Oh my gosh, look at that! Oh man, that's like nightmare fuel. That just looks, oh, that's horrifying. But if you walk like that, its mouth will move like you're eating stuff. So this will be pretty cool. I assume people will probably use this for like maybe like tutorials or decoration or things like that. And it looks pretty cool. It's a nice little addition. You can of course stick it on an armor stand and, you know, scare children with it. It's nice. It's a nice little addition. Glad to see that. And again, keep in mind all of these blocks can only be gotten by going into the end. These ones right here. You can't get this one naturally. You can only get that one in creative mode. But these blocks can all be gotten by going into the end and getting this chorus fruit and cooking it and whatnot. And this chorus fruit also has an interesting ability. If you eat it, let's get out of game mode for this. Fail. Game mode 1 or 0. But if you eat it, which you can eat it if you have full hunger, it will randomly teleport you to a nearby spot, and it can teleport you underground. So if you have a spot, you know, empty spaces underground, there is a chance that it will teleport you there. See, it teleported me over here. So it teleports you to a nearby spot in a random location. So this could be interesting to be used to get away from people and escape people or escape mobs or dangerous situations. I think this is a pretty unique ability too. In addition to new blocks, we also have some new items, including new food. There is the new beetroot, which you can use to make beetroot soup, which you can, of course, eat. and it's red. It's like red soup, which is cool. You can get this by getting beetroot seeds, and it takes 6 of these to make 1 soup, so that's interesting. We have the plant, of course, over here, and it looks pretty freaky. It's probably one of the freakiest plants. And it looks like you only get 1 from each of these, and there's a chance of getting seeds, so you only get 1. So this is not, out of all the food, I'd say this is probably the least efficient, because you get 6 beetroot, and then you gotta go and make soup with it. And the soup doesn't really heal that much hunger, so this is probably not the plant that I would be putting in my garden. But it is useful if you want to get rose red dye, which I guess you'd only get from, like, flowers before. So yeah, I guess, and I guess flowers aren't, like, that common, right? You can't just find poppies everywhere, so I guess, yeah, beets, I don't think they really have, I'm sure they'll have, like, some sort of use, potions or something like that, but probably not the most useful plants, in my opinion, for, like, yeah, doesn't really have a lot of uses. Oh, but it actually can be used to breed pigs by tapping them and holding a pig with a beetroot, so I guess it's not that bad of, a plant, if Fernando's like it. So, alrighty, not bad. Alright, and with the new update, we also have new arrows, which is cool, because, combat, arrows, bows, I like this. And these arrows are basically arrows that have potion effects, and if you shoot someone with these arrows, they will get the appropriate potion effect to go along with it. So you've got, like, Potion of Night Vision, Potion of Invincibility, Poison, Regeneration, Strength, harming, which will give them like an extra bit of damage, which is cool. Healing, which is kind of redundant. But these are really cool arrows that basically you can dip them in the potions and get these arrow effects, these arrows that give the effect. And there is, of course, the spectral arrow as well, which I'll show you. But here's something a little bizarre about this, right? I spawn a cow in. I have equipped a potion of healing arrows, right? I'm going to shoot this cow. So if I shoot him just a little bit, right? Like, I don't fully draw the arrow back. Come here. So I don't want to fully draw the arrow. Come here, cow. So I shoot him just a little bit. He will not... Get back here. He won't die no matter how many times I hit him, because the arrow is giving him a little bit of a healing boost with each time. Alright. Stop running away. Oh, cried. But if you do what I just did, and you hit him too hard, hit a cow too hard, right? See, not dying, but if you fully draw it and you beam them with an arrow, then they will die. So you can kill cows if you fully draw it and just blast them with an arrow. But if you just hit them a little bit, you can shoot them all day long and they won't die. So this healing arrow will actually, you can heal people. Not all the way, I'd imagine, because, I think the regen arrow would be more useful for that. But it's still pretty interesting. There is a bug with the arrows that I noticed. If I take, so I'm going to take, I've only got 64 arrows. Let me get out of game mode. And watch, I'm going to shoot an arrow. And if you pick up an arrow, see, look at that. It gave me a whole nother stack, right? And it gave me another stack. And it's giving me, massive amounts of arrows from a single arrow, which is bizarre. I'm going to drop all these arrows out. Right, here we go. Let's drop all but 2 of them, so you guys can see this. I'm gonna fire 1, pick it up, I got 3. Fire another one, I got 5. Fire another one, I got 9. Then 17. Then 33. It just keeps going like that. Up until, the maximum it'll give me is, a stack or something. But that is super bizarre and super weird. Just a bug, Mojang. Gotta get that fixed. There is another thing that you should know. If you fire an arrow, and then you wait for the potion effect to wear off, if you just sit it there until there's no particles coming off it, it will lose its effect, and then you can pick it up, see, it'll give a little burst, and you can just pick it up, and it'll be a normal arrow, and you can fire it like a normal arrow again. And of course, as you can see when I'm firing arrows and you look in the hotbar, there's a new arrow animation. When you shoot, you can see the arrows, the bow drawing in the bottom, which is pretty darn cool. Alright, now for my favorite arrow of all time. The new one that they have added, this is the Spectral arrow. And it looks like that, and it's got a gold type of finish, and it's kind of outlined, which I guess kind of goes into its use. So if I hit this cow with a Spectral arrow, first of all, okay, I missed the cow, but as you can see, the arrow is a bright pink color. It looks crazy. It's bizarre. But if you shoot a cow with it, it will become outlined. And that is awesome because you can see it behind blocks. That is so cool. Like, look at that. You can see it. Oh, cow back there, cow over there. I'm gonna, hit these cows with arrows. And then, go stand over here. And you can see them. So you can use this to, like, shoot something. Try and get a target on it, if you want to target something and then, keep an eye on it or something or follow it. This is essentially something you can use to track players, track, someone else. This is something that I really think is really good because I can see tons of uses for this in the future. Just this effect, because that is so cool, being able to see things. Basically, if you're within, if you can see the entity, right, you can still see the effect, right? So as long as you can see the entity on your screen, like, you can still see the effect, which is awesome. Definitely a great addition. Mojang, this one I gotta give you props for. This arrow, this effect, like, because if you hit them, they do get a potion effect. Let me show you that. See, you can see the little potion particles coming off of them. So that is awesome. Server people and people who make games are gonna love that. Absolute great addition. 10 out of 10, Mojang. Alright, a couple more things that have also been added are ender pearls can now be thrown while in creative mode, which is a pretty useful feature. If you're in creative mode, you don't have to fly all the way over to a place anymore. And if you're not in creative mode, you can now, when you break dead bushes, they will now drop sticks. So there is now another wood source, I guess, that you can get in deserts. Not, a wooden plank source or anything, but you can get sticks that way. So a couple more final things before we move over to the end so I can show you all the new end stuff that has been added. Skeletons now walk and hold their bow at the side. And then if you get out of game mode, they will then target you. And these guys have also had their aim improved substantially. Like, you can barely ever dodge them anymore. They are really, really accurate. Like, these guys, you really have to book it to avoid getting hit. But typically jumping helps because they'll usually aim over your head. But yeah, very much they have improved their aim. And these guys, they also have a little animation as well when they draw their bow. But anyway, very nice skeleton update. And as you can see, when you die, it will now give you a message saying, Bad Boy Halo was shot by a skeleton or whatever your name is. And it'll give you your death message, which is pretty darn awesome. And they've added it so that if multiple bosses are around, it will spawn multiple boss bars. So you see we got one boss bar, and he's probably going to destroy that. Yeah, let's move over here a bit. You can have one boss bar, but if you spawn in another one, you will get a second boss bar right underneath it. So instead of them overlapping like they had been, they will now be underneath each other. So you can have multiple, you can have tons of boss bars, and they'll all just be chilling there, minding their own business, existing. And I can see server owners are probably going to like this, because this will be a way to get multiple messages instead of just one, to players. And yeah, it's probably going to get pretty crowded in that server space. At least that's what I predict for servers in the future, what's going to happen. Alright, so with the end, one of the things you're going to notice right away is that a lot has changed. So let's jump on in, and boom! This is the new and I would say improved end. So what they have done is, first of all, they have added in the little, end portal has now automatically been spawned in the middle. It no longer spawns where the dragon dies. It'll be here, and the dragon will periodically fly over to it and do that. He'll like hover over it. So they changed up the Enderdragon fight. They've also spawned the obsidian pillars in a circle around that. So that'll be there, and they spawn these suckers around it, and they've made the boss fight harder. What'll happen is, as you go around, the higher these things are, the more likely they are to have these on them, which will prevent you from shooting them with an arrow. They'll be protected by iron bars. So it's meant to make the boss fight a little bit more harder, because you'll typically have, a couple of these will have these around, so you'll have to tower up to them and manually break through them. So it'll be a little bit harder to fight the Ender Dragon. And let's destroy the rest of them. So we're going to destroy the rest of them manually, and then we'll see what he does. So I would argue that he's not getting as close and personal to attack anymore. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not seeing him like get as aggressive. Okay, now there's only one left. Let's see if he gets more aggressive here. You gonna come over and attack? No, you just gonna chill? Yeah, he's just chilling back. Oh wait, he might come in now. It does look, what I am noticing here is he's not really flying off screen like he had been before. Before he had flown really, really far away. Whoa. Whoa, oh cool. That's like purple fire. Oh dang, these guys are going nuts. Die, I will hit you. Dang. Oh man, these things are going ballistic. Okay, okay, okay. Go away, go away. Alright, so as you can see, there's a new... Looks like he has a new type of behavior when he fights, especially now. He came over and he just breathed like fire, like liquid, like purple fire down. That was pretty cool. And here we go, we're gonna finish him, and he is... Oh, nope, come back here. Hey, get back here. Gonna fly around. He should swerve back down, because he likes... Oh, there we go. Right as he dies, he'll go, or has 0 health, he goes right over here. Game mode 0. Let's drop down. And so when he dies, a new portal should appear somewhere. There it is, off in the distance. Game mode 1. So you can see the new portal, it'll be lit by a beacon. He'll still drop all his XP, he'll drop the egg there. The beacon will disappear after a little bit. So we can scoop up all this awesome XP. Just like that. There we go. The egg, of course, is still there. If you jump into this portal, it will, of course, teleport you to like the end credits and everything like that. You'll go to the end credits and it'll be the end of the game. But if you go to the new portal, which is over here, you will find something different. Now, there's a trick to this portal. You can no longer you cannot get into this portal by simply walking into it. It's only 1 block tall. There's no way to get into it unless you use an ender pearl, or unless you use like a, you can hop on a pig and ride a pig through, but really there's no other way to get into the portal. So other than ender pearling or using like the boat glitch, I guess, would work, but you're pretty much limited on your options. So I am, of course, going to use the best method of getting into the ender portal, which will be via Fernando. Go! There we go. He should walk in. Maybe not. Okay, so let's just... Oh! Oh, dang. Okay, so I'm just gonna ender pearl. There we go. And we ender pearl. And oh my gosh, the Fernando made it! Excellent! That's cool. It teleports mobs too, just like the nether portal. And of course, it creates the purple beam as well. Alright, so this is the new part of the end, which is awesome. Really liked the improvements they did with the Enderdragon fight. I really like that. But this is the new Ender Isles that basically spawn in like a big donut shape, and they extend on infinitely out past, like they're around the 700-800 mark is where they start. So you can build from, you don't have to take the portal, you can build from the island out to here, but that would take a really long time. The portal's probably faster. But if you take this out here, you will wind up where these freaky trees are. These are called the chorus flowers and the chorus plants, and these will only grow on endstone. They will not grow... Is it me, or do the Endermen look like their heads are... Like, look, it looks like he's got his head, like, to one direction. Doesn't that look that way? Yeah, it does. These will only grow in the end, and they do grow. Like, these suckers will actually grow at a regular rate. Like, if you watch them, they'll, like, sprout out, you know, in different directions. Like, it might sprout like that, and they'll grow, which is really, really weird. But these are ways that you can get the new type of plant, or the fruit, just by bringing those and collecting the fruit. So this is how you harvest them and get those new blocks. And, of course, they will spawn pretty much forever if you just follow them. And there's these little islands that will also spawn kind of between them, so you can build to these to travel across a little bit quicker. But yeah, this is pretty much the end. You can explore it infinitely, and there are some structures that spawn in, just like the Nether. There is an end dungeon or an end fortress, kind of an end dungeon, I guess you call it. So let's go ahead and go find it. Alright, so here we go. I found one of the end dungeons, which they're different sizes. I've seen some with only one tower. I've seen some that are bigger and have like an end ship, and I'll try and find one of those. But here's one, just in case I can't, but here we go. Let's go ahead and go in it. And here we go. I forgot to introduce the new mob. This is known as the Skulker, and these are a very unique mob in that you can spawn them standing up like that. As you can see, you'll open up kind of like an oyster and he'll look out. Reminds me of that Pokemon. You know, that weird purple one, you know, with the face on the inside. But you can also spawn these guys on the sides of buildings, and they'll open like up and down, or there's, you know, spawn side to side. So these are treated like a block. If you have a sword while in creative mode, you cannot break these. It treats them like a block. These guys can also teleport around, and they do shoot projectiles at you, which I'll show you in a bit. But as you can see, this structure is built with end stone and all the basic end blocks that you can get. You can get up into it. This is the only place you can get these end rods that they spawn here as well. And in some of these, you can actually find chests with some really, really nice loot. But here we go. Let me go ahead and show you what projectiles these guys shoot. Here we go. Game mode 0. So if you are unlucky enough to run into these guys, they open up and they will shoot at you, because they are not very friendly. And you can punch them and try and kill them. And you can break their projectiles. But if they hit you, you will be given the Levitation Effect, which you will actually slowly levitate up. And this is pretty cool, but can be pretty deadly, as you're about to see. Oh wait, no, don't want to die. I just realized if I die, I'll get teleported out. Don't want that to happen. But as you can see, very deadly attack, because if you get hit, you will float up, and that's no fun. But these things, they will track you for a really, really long time. They will not go through blocks, but this is crazy. Like, look at this. This thing just keeps going and going. I don't think they'll ever stop. I think the only way to make them stop is to break them, or put like a block in between you and them, and then they'll run into the block and they'll break. So this sucker's just gonna follow you forever. So there we go, and then it eventually hits and it breaks. And you can see these structures also have banners, so this is pretty cool. Let's go ahead and try and find an end ship so I can show you that though. So as you can see, it'll make like a little path which will go over to the end ship. And if you get on that, it is of course basically a boat, and it looks really cool. It's like, has like a little front and looks nice and shiny. Has a cool beacon, which means, you know what a beacon means? It means there's, oh yeah, look at all that iron down there. There's iron and obsidian in here. And of course we do have some loot chests, which have some good stuff. I've seen these things. There are some that have diamonds, diamond armor, enchanted diamond armor. This of course has some iron. This one has some more iron, but I've seen some that have had diamond, and the loot that you get from these is a lot better than the Nether Fortress loot. So this is like, you know, really good loot, whereas Nether loot is like okay loot, you know, not like really good. This is the really good stuff. So anyway, guys, that is pretty much it for this update. Again, the biggest changes have been the stuff they've set up in terms of combat, you know, adding in the secondary slot, adding in letting you switch, like if you're left-handed, you can set your left-handed, you know, be a left-handed person and show the world how left-handed you are. They've added in tons of stuff to the end, revamped the Enderdragon fight. There's tons of stuff just coming in from this, you know, new blocks, cool stuff, loot. You know, this update, I guess my overall impressions on it have been overall positive. You know, I like some of the potion effects, like especially the one where you can track people, the Spectral arrow potion effect. That one, just absolute, that's just a great one. Let's see if it works on these Skulker guys. No, it does not. How about that? But overall, just, I gotta say, this is an update that I think, oh yeah, it does. If you hit him on the inside, you gotta hit him on the inside though. So it looks like you can hit that little that little guy on the inside. So that's pretty cool. But overall, this, again, very positive update. I really like it. I think that out of all the updates Mojang could have done, like, I think this is a step in the right direction. They add in some things like the Spectral thing, which these are things that servers can really use, features that servers can use for new games. They add a Levitation Potion effect, which, again, this is stuff that servers can use, but they're not just thinking about the servers. You can tell they're thinking of the builders, because they could have used, like, blocks that already existed, like they had several other purple blocks to make this stuff. They didn't have to add some of this stuff in. They didn't really even have to add a new mob, and yet they added one not only with a cool ability, you know, where the shots track you, but it's got a cool little, it's a neat little mob that has its own little special features that go with it. So I really think this is a step up in terms of Mojang. I'm still wary because I really want to see what happens with shields. Want to see what happens with the overall, like, update. I want to see, like, what they do, like, with everything. But I think just from what I'm seeing from this update, I'm impressed. I like a lot of the stuff that's here. I think there's going to be a lot of creativity with builds, servers. Again, I love this endstone brick block. That's going to have a lot of uses. A good color is the end color, but with a nice texture instead of that horrible end texture. So again, kudos to Mojang. Lots of cool stuff with this update. The dual hand thing, really useful. Love that they added a key in. Just lots of good stuff with this update. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this one. Kind of covered everything, the Enderdragon. If there's anything I missed, let me know in the comments section. I'm sure I missed something. And if you'd like me to do another one of these for when they officially do the 1.9 release, let me know. But this is pretty much it. Leave the video a thumbs up, comments, all this thing. What is your favorite thing that Mojang added with this update or with the pre-release, the Snapshot? What do you think they should add? What did you not like? What do you think that Mojang should change? How do you think this is going to affect PvP? Because as a player who really likes PvP, that's what I really care about, is how Mojang is going to affect PvP, because I don't want to see PvP ruined, of course. But I really think that there's a lot of stuff here that could be used to make PvP more dynamic and make it better. Anyway, just my thoughts. Let me know what you think. Leave it in the comment section. All that good stuff. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Goodbye. I'm gonna try and kill this. Wonder how long this will take. Die. If they peek out, I think you can kill them. Oh, dang it. Okay. Oh, get him. Oh, there we go. I got him. So they have like a super hard shell on the outside, but you can break them open like a clam. Very cool.